yesterday we were talking about a report coming out of the London Daily Telegraph saying that the pictures of detainee abuse were worse than imagined. They involved significant sexual abuse, including rape. At the time, the Pentagon and Robert Gibbs, also the press secretary for the president, objected vociferously and questioned the veracity of the reports, questioned the reporting of the London Daily Telegraph, and even all of British journalism. And they said, I wouldn't believe it if I were you. Well, here's the problem. And I said on yesterday's show, hey, you know what? If they're objecting this much, maybe they know something we don't know because they've seen the pictures. And maybe they know that it doesn't actually depict that, and maybe the Telegraph got it wrong. Well, Scott Horton, who's a very good journalist who's worked with Harper's Magazine before, he's with the Daily Beast now, and he's also with the American Lawyer, and he's a law professor as well, is reporting that a senior military officer that he says is very credible and has first-hand knowledge of the pictures says, nope, the Pentagon is lying. The Daily Telegraph is telling the truth. I've seen the pictures. They depict a uniformed soldier receiving oral sex from a female prisoner, a government contractor engaged in an act of sodomy with a male prisoner, scenes of forced masturbation, forced exhibition, and penetration involving phosphorus sticks and brooms. So it is apparently as bad as it gets. So the pictures do show rape and other forms of sexual abuse that were done to the detainees. Now, Scott Horton goes to point out, he says, look, remember who's doing the major denial here, Brian Whitman at the Pentagon. And remember Brian Whitman's history. First of all, he's a leftover from the Bush administration. Second of all, back when there was a story in Newsweek on in April 30th of 2005 on the issue of the Qurans being thrown down the toilet at Guantanamo Bay. You remember that story? The Pentagon came out, and it was Brian Whitman who said, absolutely not, this is outrageous. We demand an apology from Michael Isikoff, who wrote that story in Newsweek. They got it all wrong. No such thing happened. And, of course, we found out later that that is exactly what happened. And it was in a report, FBI report in 2002, about how they desecrated the Quran on a couple of occasions and threw one in the toilet, exactly as reported in Newsweek. Another time, Brian Whitman had come out and said, apparently done a whisper campaign against Barack Obama. When he was running for office, Obama said that he talked to an Army captain who had described how his unit had been shortened in munitions and equipment, and Whitman came out and told reporters off the record, hey, the story is totally baloney, it didn't happen at all. Until, of course, Jake Tapper of ABC News found the captain who told Obama that, and he said, no, Obama related exactly as I told. So Whitman has a history of, well, there's no polite way of saying this, of lying on a regular basis about what is and is not true in reports from the Pentagon. So if the senior military officer is right, if Major General Antonio Taguba is right, if the Daily Telegraph is right, if Scott Horton is right, it turns out those pictures are much worse than anticipated, and that might have gone into the decision-making of Barack Obama when he decided not to release them, because he figured they're so inflammatory. Now, of course, the problem with this is now you don't just have Brian Whitman denying that that's in the pictures, but you also have Robert Gibbs, who's the press secretary for the president. Now, again, you become exactly what I feared when they wouldn't release the pictures. You become part of the cover-up. Now, why are you covering it up when we know that those pictures are eventually going to come out and we're going to see it with our own two eyes? In fact, some of the pictures have already come out. Salon has them, and some of the other publications do. And Brian Whitman had denied that anybody was put in any sexual position at all. Well, I saw the pictures with my own two eyes of a female Iraqi prisoner being forced to put her top up and being posed in sexual positions. So I already know Brian Whitman's lying about that. And by the way, some of the things that they did went, of course, beyond what was authorized, even though they created an atmosphere where they told them to take the gloves off, and they did not have any punishment for going beyond what was theoretically authorized, and they created that atmosphere full well knowing that they would do these things. The higher-ups created that atmosphere. But some of the things were authorized. One of the pictures that we saw in the original Abu Ghraib pictures was Lindy England with a detainee on a leash and walking him around. And that was specifically authorized. It's called walking the dog. And then, of course, when we saw the pictures of Lindy England doing that, what did Rumsfeld and Cheney do? oh, wasn't us, a bunch of bad apples. I can't believe she followed what was in the memo. I mean, that wasn't in the memo. Of course, she's terrible, and what they did was heinous and sadistic, as Cheney said. Well, it turns out, of course, that a lot of it was in the memos, and the memos created an atmosphere of lawlessness where these heinous things happened, and now there are pictures of them, and eventually they will be released, and Brian Whitman will be seen as the liar that he apparently is. Well, not apparently. We already know he's lied about things in the past. And Robert Gibbs is not in a good position there, and that's why it's better to be an open and transparent government, as the president originally promised. If you like this clip, you'll love the whole show. You can watch that at theyoungturks.com.